check.
Check, check, check.
All right. Oh, we need a way for you to be able to watch this talk, huh? Okay, let's see. How do I do this? Okay,
I don't think there is a way.
There might be one way. So open up Twitch on your phone. Go to the Twitch app, and then you there, Alan?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find my
Okay.
Twitch. Yeah, there it is.
Open the Twitch app.
Okay,
and go to the Alan Show.
the food is arriving now. Yeah, but because it's a new phone, I've got to like do all this.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Take your time. It's fine. Whenever you get there, let me know.
Okay, I'm in, but I'm gonna go grab the food.
Okay.
Okay.
Check, 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 check.
You there? Okay, I'm back in the building. From the grain. Tacos. Oh, good. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I am. Where's my channel? Okay, I've got it open. I've got it open. Hello? I have the stream live on my phone. Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Okay, yeah, I can hear you now. Oh yeah, I think I'm listening to you on the Google Hangout. But I hear myself saying things way later. Hello, this is Alan. I am now
Alan, do you hear me?
speaking.
Alan, can you hear me? Can you hear me? If you hear me, then that means you can hear me from Twitch, and that's a good sign. Hello, hello.
Oh,
Do you hear
Also,
this?
to have all that
Eckhart Tolle talk.
accessible to you.
yes, I hear
This is
You hear
now,
me?
but it's yes, yes, I can.
Okay, great. That means you're getting audio
Yes.
from Twitch, and I'm getting audio from you from Google.
Yes,
Hangout.
I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. There is a bit of a delay, though.
Yes,
Alan, say the number 3.
yes.
Alan, can you say the number 3, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Check, check.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Oh my gosh, the latency. It's not gonna work. Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Alan, I'm not sure.
There you are. There you are. There you are. There you are. Okay.
Okay. Let me know if you. Hey Joey, I see you in the chat. Alan, let me know if you hear hear the audio from Eckhart Tolle. Okay.
There's a
Okay.
danger, though, that you
Yes.
get drowned
Wait.
in too much information and too much knowledge. And by drowned, I mean that
I
the
don't hear
mind gets
anything.
bombarded with an excess.
I hear it now.
Okay. How clearly can you hear it?
I hear it very clearly. So let's just move forward.
Great.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. How are you? We are sorry that we did not tune in for a show yesterday, or we did not present a show yesterday. To be honest with you, we were quite tired because we were up in Santa Clarita at a festival which rocked hard. Let me move this closer so that we're cozy. Let me see. All right, I'm just gonna take this off because it's annoying me. Yeah, we rocked really hard this weekend. We worked really hard. I want to give a very special shout out to my brother Gerard, who is not here with me, to Alex, who is the shit. I want to give a very special thanks to, or Laqueque, as we call him on the show. Let me get my hair together because I'm looking like Uncle, like Krusty the Clown. And I want to thank Jimmy Newell, and I want to thank Brian Collier, who killed, and everyone else from the festival who just made it such a really special weekend. Thank you so much. But now we're back, and we will be here tonight, and we are here tonight. Excuse me, and we will be here tomorrow night. And I'm gonna sing the theme song a cappella because I've got a brand new fez, as you can see, and I want to sing the Alan Show's theme into my new fez and initiate it for our show, because this is the fez I'll be wearing from now on the show. So I've I've retired my old fez. You'll be seeing it from time to time, but this is my new fez, which is from Morocco, which is Africa. Yay, we love Africa. Okay, so
Hey,
if you
Alan.
say, yeah.
Sorry. Just a quick second before you start the song. Joey, can you still hear and see us perfectly clearly? Are all the audio levels and everything on point? Let us know in the chat, please. It would be a great help before we move on. Please let us know. Okay, we got the thumbs up from Joey. We're all good to go. Alan, take us to the song.
Well, if you say you want to be happy, then just be happy. If you say you want to act kindly, then. My name is Alan from South Los Angeles, Cobbler District, where there's only peace and joy and kindness. Bad vibes are restricted. Folks are always talking about their light, their peace, their love. We cobblers often ask each other who they're speaking of. If you say you want to be happy, then just be happy like we cobblers do, like we cobblers do. Yay!
Yay! Okay,
Yay.
so let's take it away into our special presentation for today. We have a very special presentation from the master Eckhart Tolle.
Wow, yeah.
And this particular presentation comes from his talk at Google. And the subject is living with meaning, purpose, and wisdom in the digital age. And he gave this talk at Google, to Google, but also to Google employees, but also to everyone. And it covers. It's an hour and a half. We'll watch however much of it we can, but in our hour segment. But he talks about how to access an enlightened state of consciousness. What is the present moment? He talks about how technology impacts attention and presence, how to do mini meditations, how to find presence in the midst of challenging situations, And there's a Q&A at the end, and that's after the hour part. But it talks about he talks about his journey to enlightenment, why enlightenment happens overnight for some and not for others, advice for high achievers, how to overcome strong emotions. So a variety of really profound topics, and he's gives his really clear and funny insights into all of those questions. So that's what we're gearing up for here today, Alan.
Oh, good. That sounds great. I'm going to be enjoying my dinner, everyone, while we're watching, and I'm going to be listening from here. So I hope you don't mind a bit of smacking.
All right. Alan, do you have any thoughts on Eckhart Tolle?
Well, I mean, he is one of the great spiritual practitioners of our age. His book, The Power of Now, was an overnight sensation because obviously he's got something that's very real going on. I also loved what I read of his book, The New Earth, although I didn't finish reading it. But I really loved it. And Gerard sent over an audiobook. Gerard is a huge Eckhart Tolle fan and does, you know, watch his videos and things like that. So from time to time, Gerard would send over Eckhart Tolle videos, and I did listen to quite a bit of The New Earth, which I really loved, which is all about kind of how to live in the new paradigm and set up the new paradigm for yourself. It's worth listening to.
Got it. And it goes into abundance mindset and stuff like that as
Well,
well.
he covers it all. He's presenting new ways of thinking and new ways of living, which is what I really love about him.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. Well, without further ado, let's check the chat. Yeah, okay, it's still, who's here right now? Say what's up in the chat if you're here, or if you're lurking, that's fine, but we'd love to acknowledge you here today. Yeah, and so we'll keep an eye on the chat here. Well, what are you eating today, Alan?
I'm eating vegan tacos.
Vegan tacos?
Yes.
Ah.
That have lemons to squeeze on them. No flour, no sugar, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Cool. I'm over here just getting everything ready. So let's see. I think I'm gonna skip the beginning part of it, and I'm gonna go straight into the message.
Your question
Okay. Without further ado, Eckhart Tolle.
was important. I remember it.
I don't.
Knowledge, information, and wisdom. How do they relate? Of course, with the technological revolution, information revolution, digital revolution, whatever you call it, there's an enormous amount of knowledge available to everybody. Almost the whole of the world's knowledge, and there's the interconnectedness between people and so on. That's all very good, of course, to have all that accessible to you. There's a danger, though, that you get drowned in too much information and too much knowledge. And by drowned, I mean that the mind gets bombarded with an excess of input, and therefore you miss something that is essential for a human life to be truly fulfilled, and that is a place of peace, inner peace or stillness, a place that one could describe as the source of all intelligence, that many people don't even realize exists within them. So I'd like to just talk briefly about that really we're talking about the core of what spirituality means. Spirituality is not having a particular belief structure, is not subscribing to a particular set of thoughts. Spirituality is discovering a dimension within yourself that is, we can either say deeper or higher than the continuous movement of thinking. And of course, all this information and knowledge is experienced in you as thought. So the thinking mind has always been active for many thousands of years in humans, but now it's even more active than before because it gets energized by the incredible increase in input. Before, all you had was the simple sensory input in your immediate surroundings. Then later came books, so you had the added input of that. And then gradually came the mass media, and now this incredible revolution of information technology, computers, and so on. So it energizes that movement of thought that's taking place in every human, which in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It only becomes a bad thing and self-destructive thing if that is all you experience inside you, in your consciousness. If all you ever experience is that, I call it sometimes mental noise, then you begin to derive your identity from the thoughts in your head, what the thoughts tell you about yourself, and you are trapped in that identity that is based on identification with thinking. All spiritual teachings point to the possibility of finding something in you that is deeper than thinking, a space, a stillness that's always there. And the informational excess of information, you can only successfully deal with that if you have a balance in your consciousness between using your mind to absorb information, to put out new information, to work on the information that you have taken input. If you have a balance between that and something that is deeper than thought in you, and really, instead of giving you new knowledge here, I don't want to do that because I don't want to add to the knowledge that you're taking in anyway, far more than you ever need. So instead of giving you knowledge here, I'd like to suggest that you experience at first hand in yourself that place of, I call it sometimes thinking. I call it sometimes a presence, where you are alert, conscious, but not thinking. And every creative person has some access to that realm. If you have a truly creative insight, you have to go to that place that is deeper than analytical thinking. Analytical thinking itself, or processing information, is not creative. So to find a new solution to a problem in your life requires...
Hold on, I think the audio quality is messed up for some reason. It's coming out pretty crushed. So let me see if this helps. 1 second, y'all.
Some creative...
And that did not help at all. I'm gonna try refreshing this.
Right. You have to go to that...
That didn't help either. Okay, I don't know why that's happening. But we'll continue the video.
Place that is deeper than analytical thinking. Analytical thinking itself, or processing information, is not creative. So to find a new solution to a problem in your life requires some creative insight. So whether it's a problem in your work situation or your personal life, or something that you need to build or do that you have come to a dead end, or you want to create something, whatever it is, a work of art or a new system for the computer, I don't know the expressions for that, you need to go to the place where creativity arises. And every human who is creative has some access to that, even if they don't know it. But it's not only the place where creativity arises, it's also the place that gives sanity to your life. To find a place of stillness, peace, aliveness, where you're not burdened by a lot of the time, unnecessary mental noise. So when you do start thinking again, it actually can be more productive. So where is that place? How do you find that place? If it's there in everyone, how do I realize that within myself? That's really the question. I can just suggest to you 3 or 4 entry points into that state of consciousness, and after I've done that, we can carry on the conversation. A very simple entry point, and this is why my first book was called The Power of Now, is the realization that your entire life consists of the present moment and only the present moment ever. Now, most people, perhaps in some abstract way, they know that, but they cannot sense or feel the truth of that. And I'd like to invite you to actually sense and feel the truth of what I'm saying, which even if there's a great philosopher here, he or she cannot argue with this statement, that whatever you experience ever is present moment. Your entire life unfolds in the present moment. That's all you ever have. Most people don't live as if this were true. They live as if the opposite almost were true, as if the future moment were more important always than the next one. And that happens because of excessive identification with thinking, because usually the thoughts are about the next thing, the next, or what could happen or might happen. So if you can just come to this realization, well, this is all I ever have and ever experience is this moment. This is undoubtedly true. There is nothing else ever. And at that moment, when you fully realize that, you can only realize that an alertness arises in you. Wow. You become alert to, one could almost call it, the presence of the power of this moment, of the power of life itself in this present moment, which consists of, yes, it consists of sense perceptions. It also consists of, let's look, what is this present moment? This present moment is this room, what we perceive here, what we see, hear, the lights, the totality of the room. So let's become alert so that we can really perceive that. And beyond that which we perceive in this room, is there anything else about that we could call the present moment? Well, if you look deeply enough, yes, there is also the inner energy field in your body that you can actually feel, that you're alive, in your legs, your arms, your feet. That's also part of the present moment. To sense the energy field that pervades the physical body, that's also something you can feel. So there's external sense perceptions, and there's the feeling the aliveness inside your body. And if you're totally in thinking, you can't feel that at all. You don't feel alive. You're only alive in the upper story of the house, your head. The entire house you don't inhabit then. So you begin to inhabit the entire body. This becomes part of your experience of the present moment. So sense perceptions, yes. And there isn't aliveness even to artificial light. Of course, you might say, I prefer sunlight. Okay, me too. But there's a beauty and aliveness even to artificial light. And there's a beauty and aliveness that is usually overlooked, that's in the texture of this chair here, or whatever you're wearing, and certainly the flowers. And suddenly you become aware of that. And that's not all yet. We're just going into the present moment. So you have that, externals, and you suddenly appreciate the aliveness of all the things that surround you. Other people have to take acid to get there. So you don't need that. With Attic people, sometimes they look at a teapot and they say, wow, oh my God. But you don't need to do that, just be present, and then you appreciate the beauty even of a mass-produced teapot. If it's handmade and hand-painted, even nicer, but even a mass-produced teapot has a presence there. It's there, and it's an alive energy field. Every physicist will tell you it's not a dead teapot. It's molecules and atoms in continuous movement. Everything is vitally alive, and you miss that if you're totally trapped in the mental noise all the time, taking in information. Present moment, sense perceptions, so the inner energy field of the body, and then what else is there to the present moment? Okay, then you have to go become really alert, and the next thing that you notice about the present moment is really at the deeper level of the present moment. It's not something that arises in your consciousness, as does the table and this room and even the inner energy field of the body. These are all things, that objects that arise in your consciousness. But if you go deeper even into the present moment, what you encounter is the most incredible secret of human life, which is you encounter the fact that at the bottom of it all, you are conscious. There is the presence that you are, without which you couldn't perceive anything. You couldn't perceive this room, and you couldn't feel the body, without that consciousness that you essentially are, which Jesus, by the way, called the light of the world. He said to his disciples, "You are the light of the world." And these disciples were not special people, they were fishermen. So certainly he wasn't telling them that they are VIPs. They were the opposite of VIPs, and yet he said, "You are the light of the world." He also said it about himself, but he also said it about others. And so you suddenly discover that essentially, at the most essential level, the essence of who you are is consciousness. But consciousness isn't something you can say, "Ah, there it is." Because consciousness cannot become an object to itself, it's the eternal subject. The I am that I am of the Old Testament, where when God is asked for his or her name, God says, "I am that I am." That is the essential identity of all beings. So when we talk about the present moment, we talk about different levels of the present moment, from sense perceptions to the feeling of aliveness in the inner body, to the realization that ultimately what we call the present moment and the light of consciousness are one and the same, because that's the thing that always remains. And that consciousness, you can sense it as yourself right now, the presence that you are, even beyond the physical presence. And that is the alertness, that is the realization that is sometimes called awakening. And that is the place also of stillness, where you get out of the mental noise. And that is the source place of creativity. That is intelligence that is non-conceptual. It's primordial intelligence. And if you touch that in yourself, then at first as glimpses, as brief realizations, and then gradually integrate it into your daily life, then you can live from that place, the source, and be not only a more productive human being, but also a more peaceful human being, because then you no longer contribute to the conflict in this world, because the conflict is only created by all those humans who don't know that level in themselves. They don't know who they are. And again, to quote Jesus again on the cross, he said, "Forgive them, they know not what they do." And why do they know not what they do? They don't know who they are, essentially. So I've talked about this and in the hope that as I'm speaking, there is an experience in you of what the depths of the present moment. Because the present moment, people think present moment is what happens. And of course, because what happens changes all the time, people say there are many present moments. If you look more deeply, of course, there are not many present moments. There's only ever this present moment. There's only this ever. So there are not many present moments. There's only the space of this moment. So there's what happens in it, and there is the space in which it happens, and that space is consciousness. And that is who you are. And when you realize that, you become free of the false sense of self, then your mind tells you something about who you are, which has to do with your history and your successes or your failures or what other people tell you who you are. A little prison. So that's really basically the essence of spirituality, which is very simple, but for some reason, it's not taught at school. All kinds of inessential things are taught at school. But what really matters, the very foundation of human life, and it's not some belief structure. I'm not saying indoctrinate children, the children must believe. It's not belief at all. It's an experience. It's a realization. That's what needs to be taught. That needs to be subject number one at school. Who am I? And everything else is easy once you have that.
Well, I'm not sure I have any more questions. We'll press on. I want to ask you about the work that we do at Google. And if you look at any given web page, it's almost a model of the mind. There's all of these jumping off points. You know, you can jump to this story or that story or Hawaii vacation, or you know, you can jump around so easily. And in fact, the product I work on, Google Plus, allows me not only to examine the contents of my own mind, but all of these people's minds as well, in a flood of a stream coming at me. And I'm wondering if the real reason you've chosen to come to Google today is because we're actively working against you, and you've come to help us get over that. But more seriously, do you think there's a place for technology, and how do you make sense of the work that we're doing and how it impacts people's attention in relation to what you just described, sort of transcending the mind and going to a deeper place?
Well, the technology is quite miraculous, of course. In itself, it's neither good nor bad. I only recently, well, which means like 2 or 3 years, started using it. Came to it very late. I still haven't developed an addiction to it, as many people have. There are incredible possibilities here with that technology, and there's also a great danger with that technology. It could lead to contribute to the awakening, and an example of that is our gathering here, which people can apparently see on their screen. So this is just one example of how this technology can contribute to spreading a vital message, which goes far beyond any ideology or anything like that. The same thing, the work I did with Oprah some years ago, for the first time, the webinar, as they call it, went out, and for the first time the whole system broke down because so many people tuned in, and then the second week it started to work.
We don't have that problem.
So there are incredible possibilities also for humans to connect with each other. Well, that's another topic, whether they're really connecting as human beings, but also that the fact that the flow of information is no longer monopolized by the powerful few corporations, but everybody can participate in that free flow of information, having led already to all these things, the Arab Spring and all those things that have been happening recently. All that is potentially good. The danger, of course, is, and again that connects with what I've been talking about earlier, is that you get more and more inundated with information, with knowledge, with mind stuff, so that you more and more lose a deeper sense of connectedness with being, with presence, that deeper level that I talked about just now, and that would then lead to increasing confusion in your mind and an inability really to create anything new anymore. You would be just trapped in the continuously increasing mental noise. And if you look at people in this field who do come up with something really creative that is new, they all have some access to that deeper level in themselves, as I'm sure many of you have. And quite a few people don't even know that they have access to that. It just happens. They become still, and they go for a moment or a few, they go, and you connect with the power inside you. You can actually feel that the power of consciousness inside you as you become still. And there's no mind movement in that. It's a kind of open and listening that opens up. And then, after a while, the mind starts working again. And it's very often, then you have an answer, or then you have the creative solution on some new insight. But if you don't go there anymore, if you get continuously drawn only into the noise, the mental noise, then you lose touch with your own power, and you become more and more confused. And it could easily happen that what now looks like miraculous technology could, within 2 generations, could lead, I'm not saying that it will, and we are here now, so there's hope, it could lead to a complete breakdown of civilization. So here you have this miraculous technology, and 2 generations later, all humans walk around like zombies. It could happen. It's an idea for a science fiction novel, perhaps. But it could happen because it's neither good nor bad. If we are not careful, it could draw us in to such an extent that we lose ourselves in our own creation, that we have created something that's an old mythological theme. We create a kind of entity that becomes a monster, and then our own creation devours us. That could happen. It doesn't have to happen. So this is, I believe, why I've come here as a little warning. If you're not careful, then what looks so wonderful here could turn out to be a monster, but it doesn't have to be. It could turn out into something, turn into something wonderful that contributes to the awakening of humanity. We need to recognize its dangers. The danger is that this screen that you look at, of course, connects with your mind. It links into your mind, and then you link into the collective mind on the screen, and it grows and grows. The noise grows and grows, and you become more and more confused and completely uncentered. You walk around. I mean, there are youngsters who are so addicted to their screen, they can't give attention anymore to another human being, to their parents or others. There's always something. Okay. What? I have an iPhone. I have to hide this here. What? That's why it's so vital for humans. So what? If you work with your screen all the time, then what do? You have to recognize the danger, and you have to give yourself some space many times during the day, even if it's just for 1 minute at a time. Give yourself space so that a balance arises between that interaction with the screen, which is the collective mind, and connectedness with being is a way we could put it. So I sometimes suggest to people to put a flower or a potted flower next to their computer screen, so that from time to time they look at that for half a minute, even a few seconds, and really look, or learn to take a breath, a conscious in and out breath. Let's call that a mini meditation. Meditation is very helpful for many people, not for everybody. If you find it hard to meditate, use mini meditations. One mini meditation is one conscious breath. What does that mean, conscious breath? It means you look away from the screen. If you can, look at something natural, a plant or the sky. But if not, that's fine. Look at a light, artificial light, whatever it is. And breathe in and follow the breath with your attention into the body. And then follow it with your attention as it flows out of the body. What does that do? It takes attention away from thought and puts it into the body. In other words, it creates a space in your consciousness, because while you're following the breath with your attention, you're not thinking. And when you're not thinking, but you haven't gone to sleep, you've created a space in your consciousness. And that's it. So that's just one conscious breath occasionally. 2 is even better, or 3, but that's fine, that's enough. And of course, that's one of the oldest forms of meditation is conscious breath, probably already recommended by the Buddha, who is supposed to have said, just be conscious of your breath for 1 hour and you'll be totally enlightened. But if you miss just one, you have to go back to the beginning. And feeling the inner body. If you don't have nature, is very helpful to take you out of your mind, although many people walk around nature and they're still in their minds. But if you can interact with the natural world, the trees, the park, the beach, the mountain, the forest, walking occasionally, and pay attention, truly pay attention to what you see without interpreting, that can bring you into connectedness with being and into the present moment. Your dog, a wonderful thing I noticed here, people are allowed to bring their dogs. That makes an enormous difference to the energy field, not to every home and to the company. When you interact with a dog, there's a moment when you're not actually thinking. That's why it feels so good, because you know the dog is not thinking about you. Although you might have heard the saying, please God, make me into the person that my dog thinks I am. The fact is the dog isn't thinking. That's why the dog relates to you with unconditional love, because the dog doesn't judge you, and you know that the dog doesn't judge you, and therefore the dog does not stimulate your thinking mind. It actually frees you for a moment from your thinking mind. That's why people laugh when many people, except unless you have a phobia, that's a different matter. Most people love interacting with a dog. Cats also, but let's talk about dogs because they're here in the company. So when you pet a dog or even just look at a dog and the tail wags, there's something liberating there for a moment, and that's why humans respond to the dog, and you go, oh. If you look very closely inside yourself, at that moment, there's a moment when you're not thinking, and when you're interacting with the dog. Unless you're so obsessed with your mind that you immediately judge the dog. That can happen too. I've met people like that. But for most people, it's a liberating thing because the dog is nature in its beauty and aliveness has not arrived yet at the stage of thought that humans have had to go through. So you experience that aliveness of nature in the dog. So okay, you have that, and if you don't have a dog, that's fine too. You can feel nature as the inner energy field in your body, and you can even practice on the computer screen while you're looking at something. See if you can be in 2 dimensions at the same time while you are looking. Don't do it at first when there's something extremely demanding. But just when there's something kind of routine thing you're checking on the screen, and see if you while you're looking, you can feel the inner energy field of your body, as you do perhaps now, in the background, so to speak. I recommend it as a kind of meditation. You can practice it when the screen, nothing is happening on the screen first, or put a flower on the screen, and look at that and see if you can, at the same time, feel the aliveness in your energy field that keeps you rooted in being. And then you don't lose yourself totally in the collective mind that comes at you through the screen. That's a beautiful, I highly recommend that. Put a little reminder on your computer screen, a little thing that says inner body or whatever else you want to call it, so that you remember. And you will find you're more energized. It's extremely energizing to sense that, to be connected with that. And so that one could call that the balance between doing and being in your life. Because thinking is part of doing. Doing is not just what you do physically. Thinking is also a kind of doing. But the human needs the 2 dimensions, being and doing. And if that balance is lost, you could lose it in being, but that's not the danger of our civilization. There may be some Indian yogis who get lost in being and don't want to get up anymore because they're so happy in being that there's no need to get up anymore, even put food in their mouths. That's fine. I'm not talking to them. I would have to have a different message for them. But I'm talking to this civilization, people who are lost or who have get too much doing, which really is thinking. There the balance is between being and doing. And even if doesn't have to be 50-50, 20%, it's hard to put a figure to it.
We like to measure things.
Yeah, no, yeah. So 25% being, 75% doing, and you're doing very well. Even 10% being would make your life much easier and much more enjoyable.
I want to remind the Googlers this dual presence technique of being and doing. Please don't do that while coding on the GFS, Bigtable, or Megastore systems.
I don't know what you're talking
joke.
about.
I do have a question. You've talked, I think most of us are engineers and technologists, and we live a lot in the realm of thoughts and ideas and in our head and not necessarily in our being. My wife has also described to me these things called feelings that some people have as well. Could you speak about feelings of anger and frustration and happiness and how they relate to this experience of being?
Yes. Sometimes words are used in a loose way, and sometimes what I just described, I sometimes call it feeling the inner body. That word is a very vague word, so it can be used to describe what we are just talking about, feeling the inner body, but then there's a different kind of feeling, and that's feeling an emotion, for example, that arises. So there's thoughts. Let's look at your entire life. Your entire life consists of basically sense perceptions, thoughts, and emotions. I think that's about it, right? Sense perceptions, thoughts, emotions. Put them together, mix them up. That's my life. Okay. So that applies to everybody. Now, the particular mixture differs from person to person. What exactly goes into the sense perceptions and the thoughts and the right? Sense perceptions, thoughts, emotions. Put them together, mix them up. That's my life. Okay. So that applies to everybody. Now, the particular mixture differs from person to person. what exactly goes into the sense perceptions and the thoughts and the emotions varies slightly from person to person, but basically that's the mixture. Now the question is, you can't escape that. Of course, that's normal life. Is there anything else? Sense perceptions, thoughts, emotions. Okay, let's see. There must be something else, because how do I know that there's sense perceptions, thoughts, and emotions? Is the ability to recognize, to have a sense perception based on thinking? No, because to have a sense perception, you don't really need to think. You can just look and see. So what what else is there? And this is a key thing. There is something else apart from sense perceptions, thoughts, and emotions, which is, we could call it an awareness. There is a sense perception, there is an emotion, there is a thought, and that is we could call that pure consciousness. Otherwise, how could you have a sense perception? So there is something.
Sorry, everybody. This is a technical difficulty that we've never had, but we'll get through this real quick. Let's see what's going on.
We could call it an awareness. There is a sense perception, there is an emotion, there is a thought, and that is we could call that pure consciousness. Otherwise, how could you have a sense perception? So there is something there that enables sense perceptions to be there, that enables a thought to be there, that enables an emotion to be there. And that is the one, that is the thing that in most humans is hidden. They don't know, in other words, they don't know it's there. Because that is presence, which we could also call consciousness, which we could also call awareness. And that is
Share. No, it's okay. Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say that I'm very touched actually by this speech. Some of it I wasn't able to understand, but um, one of the things that he always talks about is the power of now. Of course, that pretty much is his brand. That's the core of his message, is that if we can just be present to the moment that we're having right now, oops, there it's in the rearview mirror, uh, that we can achieve a higher level of contentment and peace. He also spoke on something that we practice on the show quite a bit, which is dropping in and doing breath work during the day, even if it's for 1 minute or like mini meditations during the day. Um, but the thing that's starting to happen to me is that I've studied so many different religious modalities and spiritual systems, that they're all starting to kind of merge. And what I heard him saying was, we've all got to take the journey from our mind to our heart, because our mind is great at it's almost like, in my opinion, go to the doctor, go to Western doctors if you break a bone, go to Eastern doctors if you want to have a holistic if you want to have holistic health. um, I I look at all the things that the mind has to offer, and it's a lot. But true discernment and true power comes from knowing. which can only come from the heart. The heart holds whatever that signature is, that is you, that was you before you were born and will be you after you transition into another existence. So I'm hearing him basically tell the good old news, same stuff, different teacher. He's basically saying, hey, you've only got this moment. You don't want to give your moments away to something that isn't going to really advance you or going to move you forward. What is advancement? Well, some people think advancement is a lot of money, cars, fame, fortune. Nothing wrong with any of those things. But true advancement in this realm, in my humble opinion, is first and foremost spiritual. As a matter of fact, it's all spiritual. And the biggest clue to that is that, guess what? You can't take any of this material stuff with you. The greatest clue to life is death. And although we have some trepidation about it, something tells me that when we get to the other side, it's going to be all about what we chose to do and what we chose to not do. So, what do you think, LaQuaque? Yeah. Mm, mhm, 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 mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is that when thoughts, feelings, and sensory perceptions, or sensations, um, are all in a way operating within the realm of thought, because the minute you feel something, it triggers a thought. And so for him to be speaking in one of the centers of information, all these different things are passing information.
Right.
Whatever, your touch sensors are sending information to your brain. Your feelings are sending information to your brain, but your heart, the oldest part of yourself, is the thing that already knows. And if you can connect to it, uh, it's amazing, because the heart can take control and then begin to direct the mind. The mind is like a brilliant computer that stores all kinds of things, and we call them memories, but really what they're little bits of energy that are stored in the brain, and that they hold the signature of the thing that happened in that moment. And it also prepares it to be recalled instantly at any given time. Now, some things slip into the subconscious and aren't available for instant recall, but the brain is there to help us to achieve the things that the heart is looking to do.
Hmm.
That is my belief. Am I there
Hmm.
yet? Absolutely not. My brain is humming. But I pray for the day when my brain will, where I won't hear that chatter anymore, and I'll be able to move strictly from my heart. So,
Hmm. I just received word, and I discovered as well on my own that my whole response to your last question, I was muted, so no one heard what I said. But Frogman and Joey G have let me know that they didn't hear it. To summarize what I said, basically, Alan asked me what I thought about what Eckhart Tolle was delivering, and um, I said that I'm processing it and I'm checking in within myself to consider where I'm at. Am I um, practicing that kind of presence? Am I thinking too much? And what's the right balance that makes sense for me? He talked about how he has a different message for the monks who have become so content with 100% of being that they don't feel any impulse to do any doing. But so we all have different paths, and I talked about how Jesus and his ministry would ask people to drop everything and follow him. Complete dedication. So contemplating that and what does that mean? Um, so yeah, that's some of what I was saying. But we'd love to hear from the chat what you all thought about Eckhart and some of the information that he was sharing.
while you're doing that, I want to also touch on something else that I heard
Sure.
um, Eckhart say, which is that when you're in your mind, you're human doing. When you're in your heart, you're a human being. And we're
Hmm.
striving to be human beings. Um, and the funny thing is, the more you dedicate to being a human being, the more that all the human doing falls into place anyway. But you're coming. It's not where you're going; it's where you're coming from.
Hmm.
That I just wanted to throw that in. And of course, again, these are teachings, these are universal truths that are across the board. You go to a church, you're going to hear it. You go to a synagogue, you're going to hear it. You go to an ashram, you're going to hear it. You go to any place where people are speaking truth, you're going to hear this message about
Some version of
right now
this.
being the only some version of this message.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and that's basically your synthesis of having studied and taken a look at countless different paths.
Yeah, because the truth of the matter is that and it was interesting. It was an interesting choice for them to choose to bring Eckhart Tolle to Google. Um,
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle said straight directly to them that this is a brilliant thing that you've created, but I don't know if this is really going to help humanity, or harm it or destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
He put that to him, which I thought that many times. I look at everybody with their heads in their phones, and I just think to myself, wow, what's coming, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. He said something that was, resonated very deeply for me, which was that basically that the technology is a tool that can be used. It's neither good or bad. And I came to that same conclusion, with regard to technology, because I was spending most of my time and energy, I guess, in the last, this entire first part of the entire first part of my career, working on technology, and I definitely believe that this would be a force for good, and as I've spent time in it, as well as observed how it has molded the world, I recognize that that it's the consciousness that wields that tool, that determines whether it's good or bad. And so it's like Jesus talking about, it's the powers and principalities of the air is where the conflict is playing out. So anyway, that's sort of what I was thinking. I think that's the conclusion, or that's the epiphany that led me to pursue more of a spiritual approach towards life, and to not only become that myself, but also to contribute to the general elevation of consciousness. Because there's no limit to how much good we can do if the person bearing the tool is benevolent. I heard another thing today about how intellect is different from consciousness, and that people need to understand that. That's something that I'm understanding and grasping more and more as time goes on. And Eckhart, touched on that as well. And the engineer who was interviewing him, talked about how he recently learned about something called feelings from his wife. Like he's as an engineer, he's so in that thinking, analyzing mindset that so this is all kind of wrapped into the technology and it's all this digital stuff. So it's interesting, the spiritual implications of it.
Yeah, he is very interesting because he keeps it fairly simple. And he basically isn't, again, I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, but when I listen to him, it's just that he's our person that's sharing this truth with us in our age. But this is the old, this is a very old message,
Yeah.
that he's basically, he hasn't reinvented the wheel. He's just presented it in the form of a couple of books, and is a wonderful example of this.
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting talk. I think this is. What did you all think, Joey, Frogman? Did you all appreciate this? How was it for all of you?
And hello, Joey and Frogman. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
So I think we got to about 46 minutes in. Ooh, we got a new follower, JDYZ, JDYZYZZ. I'm not even gonna try that again. But thank you for following.
Welcome.
Welcome. So here we got to, he talked about how to do mini meditations, how technology impacts attention and presence, how feelings relate to the experience of being. He was just starting to open up to that. The rest of this goes on to discuss how to find presence in the midst of a challenging situation.
Before you continue, I want to just
Yeah.
let our new follower know what we're discussing.
Oh, yes, great idea.
And we just finished watching a lecture, or kind of a discourse, by Eckhart Tolle, who is a very famous modern day philosopher and spiritual practitioner, who wrote the books The Power of Now and also A New Earth, which is about kind of this new paradigm that many people are talking about. So I wanted to
Yeah.
contextualize that for you.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself if you're okay with that. J Diz. I'm gonna call you J Diz. How'd you find us, and what brings you to the Ellen Show? This is a little family, by the way, a little community here at the Ellen Show. Um, okay, we're starting to. Well, I had a rough day and got bored, and and that's it. And they got bored, and I wanted to come to Twitch to see something cool. All right, do you have an interest in spirituality? I love philosophy and spirituality.
Mm,
Well,
awesome.
this is a great place to be for anyone who's a student and a seeker. That's what we're doing together here at the Allen Show. Yeah. Um, Joey G says profound epistemological foundations. Really enjoyed his focus on the importance of the now. Great.
Joey, why do you have to use all those big words?
Joey, why do you have to use all those big words, huh?
Yeah.
777 is here, and she says, "What? Where is Alan? Alan, where are you now?"
I'm actually in downtown LA on a film set. A lot of you don't know the kind of things that I do, but I'm still in the city of Los Angeles. By the way, 777, wish you could have made it down to the festival. It was freaking amazing. We had a total breakthrough musically and otherwise this past weekend. Um, so it's nice to
Yes.
hear that you're in the chat.
Yes, Alan is off-site. I'm here in the Alan Show normal studio, and we're doing a little co-hosting situation. 777 says, "I imagine, did you guys film anything?" The answer is yes, and we'll be sharing some of that footage very soon. So can't wait to show you. Joey G says, "I love words."
I love him too, Joey. I love him too.
Jay Diz, have you heard of Eckhart Tolle before? Or are you familiar with him? And by the way, I just dropped the link in the chat to this particular talk. So, yeah, go click that link and have it on file. Watch it if you'd like. We may watch the rest of this next week. We'll see how we feel. But I was going to say he talks about his journey to enlightenment, why enlightenment happens overnight for some and not for others, advice for high achievers, self-compassion, why is there such attraction to distraction, and how to overcome strong emotions. So,
And you know, a lot of people don't recognize being caught up in technology as distraction. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but when you start paying attention to these people that are programming these social media sites, they're interested in one thing and one thing only: keeping you in front of your screen. So distraction is definitely something that we have to pay attention to. I was thinking about my last moments in life and what that might be like. And I started thinking, I'm going to look back at all the times that I wasted sitting in front of the TV, sitting in front of the phone. At 52 years old now, I'm starting to see things a lot differently. So time is precious, and if we're here for spiritual reasons, we have to begin to address ourselves as spiritual beings having a human experience, and not get too caught up in the matrix or the sideshow of all the different things to do and be in, or to do and to buy and to be dedicated to ourselves as spiritual beings. And that doesn't have to look like anything in particular.
It's the acknowledgement.
Yes, and the seeking of it.
Excellent. Let's check the chat. J Diz asks, what is your advice on people who are just getting into spirituality?
Well, one of the things that I can tell you is that there are two primary components to connecting with God. One of them is through your breath. Well, actually, both of them are through your breath. Uh, uh, in almost any true spiritual text, uh, the power of words, the power of the breath will always be acknowledged as primary and as paramount, actually. So he spoke of doing little mini meditations, but what he said the oldest form of meditation and the one that is spoken of the most is simply uh, slowing down your breath, slowing down your breath, and then being conscious of your breath going in and out. I don't know why it works. It was the first form of meditation that I did, which was breathing and counting the breaths up to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It just starts to really calm my spirit down, and over time, it is cumulative. So you can have some very major spiritual breakthroughs through meditation. The second one is prayer, and if you want an amazing book on prayer, I would suggest that you buy The Golden Key by Emmett Fox. He's a Christian mystic, and his take on prayer is the most beautiful and the most profound I have ever read. Also, his discourse on the Lord's Prayer is one of the finest things I've ever read as well. Oh, also, lastly, in that same book, The Golden Key, his chapter on forgiveness is beyond anything that I've ever read on forgiveness. So that book, I cannot recommend it enough. The Golden Key by Emmett Fox.
Okay.
And I would recommend The Power of Now. I would recommend A New Earth. These are Eckhart Tolle books, Power of Now, New Earth.
Sure. Alan,
Yes.
J Diz asks, and by the way, I just put a link to the book, The Golden Key, there in the chat. Looks like it's from 1930, so it's been around for a very long time. But J Diz asks, I don't want to get into any debate or anything controversial, but what God in specific are we talking about?
Well, I personally come from a Christian background, but I have explored many, 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 many forms of spirituality, many, many different spiritual systems. I now am exploring uh, a form of Hinduism, and uh, am working with a spiritual teacher to begin to go deeper into my meditation practice. So, although I will, on one level or another, always consider myself to be a Christian, I am now studying Hinduism. Now, there's a lot of talk that Jesus actually, because those that from 12 to 30, not much information on him. As a matter of fact, no information on him in the Bible. So many believe that he made it over to Tibet, to the Himalayas, or the Himalayas, as my friend calls them, and learned the teaching from the masters themselves that he brought back to the Middle East. So that's what I would say is I'm not as focused on the road that you take, but that the ego is dissolved, and that you're able to achieve spiritually the things that you are looking to achieve, and that the universe wants you to achieve.
My answer to that question would be that. Oh wait, J Diz has asked, have you ever had any experience which made you change your way of thinking? And then while you think on, did you hear that question, Alan? Yeah, okay. Before Alan answers that one, I'll just add to what he said, which is, in response to what God in specific are we talking about, I would say first and foremost, it's at its core is a search for truth, and that that both Alan and I and a lot of us here are on a journey, and that looks like studying a lot of different spiritualities, a lot of different paths, trying to rising above dogma or religion, but to attempt to understand and seek a higher truth, and continuing to ask questions, continuing to ask, seek, after the truth, so we're on that path to understand and to know, and yes, I agree. I think God is the way of humanity to find purpose or a transcendence. Yeah, and so when we're talking, a lot of what we talk about is things that we've gathered from this spiritual quest, the spiritual journey, and everything we've learned and are continuing to learn. So, Alan, have you ever had any experience? Oh, I'll just add to that, which means that we learn from all systems and all religions, and look for truth in them all.
I call God. I've lengthened it a little bit. I call it the God experience. The table this phone is sitting on is another form of God. I'm another form of God. You're another form of God. The picture on the wall is another form of God. God is everything. That's why in churches they sing a song that says, "So high can't get over it, so low can't get under it, so wide can't get around it." It's because there's nothing that's not God. So if you stop to think about the fact that with a little reconfiguration, this table could be that bottle of water. That's very profound. That the primateria, as it were, of any and everything is quite similar. Just consider that instead of looking, and of course to just help people, there have been anthropomorph anthropomorph anthropomorphication. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember that word. Anyway, people turning these universal truths into gods, goddesses, idols, as it were, or forms, so that it would be easier for people to understand. But truthfully, every single thing is God, and everything is reflecting this amazing energy that animates or that brings to life. And if you're a tree, you're alive, or at least I hope you're alive. If you're a human and you're alive and you're walking around, what's animating me is the same thing that's animating that tree. So,
yes. We've also explored spirituality across in a lot of different ways, including psychedelics and entheogens, as well as the ancient traditions that are behind those, and expansion of consciousness through those vehicles, as well as through just our own bodies, through meditation, through our own being. So Alan has been through things like Vipassana meditation, which is like a 10-day silent meditation that has brought many people to amazing states of being and revelation and enlightenment. So just to name a few, but he's also read a bazillion different types of different books and from different spiritual teachers and masters. So and also we talk a lot about therapy and different ways of healing physically, but also emotionally, from things like childhood trauma, and talk about the ways that those things are expressed, which is might be addiction, it might be anxiety, it might be anger. So going to the root of those things and healing ourselves essentially with the truth. So that's a lot of also what motivates us is having experienced suffering and witnessing suffering in the world, and responding to that with a lot of questions. So let's see. Frogman's saying that YouTube is down, and that's maybe why we were having those issues earlier. So, well, there you go. The world is. Frogman says YouTube is down. Is the world coming to an end? I do think that in Revelation somewhere it talks about the end of the world being preceded by YouTube going down. So maybe that's what's going on here. Are you on Discord or anything like that? Yes, we have a Discord. If you look at the About section here on Twitch, just below the video, you'll see a link to our Discord. So, yeah, check that out.
It's
Yeah.
really refreshing to be getting questions about spiritual things. This is something that is so important right now, with where we are in the world, for us to be really going inside and checking, because I think that there's going to be quite a few very surprising events, prior coming before us, before we know it. So it'll be a good idea for us to get to know ourselves better and to get to discover who God is for us. And I have a feeling that that can be something different for each one. There's
Mm.
no there's no one thing. I think that the spirit of God, which is unconditional love, is the thing that we're reaching for and that we're seeking. So
Yeah. Yeah, and there's intellectual knowing, and then there's, shall we say, experiential knowing or true knowing. So, sometimes we're studying and intellectually understanding concepts and truths, like, for example, God is love. But to feel what that means with your existence, for that to be your spiritual reality, is a whole journey. So we do both of that here at the Allen Show, and I guess we're in a way introducing ourselves to Jay Diz here, who has also just joined our Discord. So welcome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Cobbler Town.
Welcome to Cobbler Town. Alan, let's tell Jay Diz about Cobbler Town.
So this kind of all happened spontaneously. We've been doing the show. I believe this is 190. Is this 190? Episode 190?
We've lost count.
Oh, well, I haven't been losing count. I just this fun mythology. It was our idea to loosely base the show on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So there was the real world, and then there was the fantasy world where the train would take you. And so in our fantasy world is Cobbler Town, and Cobbler Town is a place where, somewhat like the Keeblers, the elves, the leprechauns, the hobbits, um, but we're in South LA, so many of us are black. Not all of us are black, but many of us are black, and we love wonderful things. But more than anything, we love community. We love love, and we've decided we're taking an upgrade from love to unconditional love, which is awesome. And our currency is not paper money; it's pie, because pie always makes everyone happy. So those are the rules, or the reality of the world thus far, and that's it.
Yes, Cobbler Town is a fourth dimensional location, a community, a village, where you and I and all of us in Cobbler Town are members of a cobbler community. Everyone's a cobbler, and there's only peace, love, and kindness in Cobbler Town. So the Discord there is Cobbler Town version 0.1. And yeah, we're just getting started. It's pretty early, but we intend to take this very far. And if you stick around
Some
long
feel that
enough,
I've
you'll know
taken
what
it
that
too
means.
far already.
I don't think so. But yeah, Jay Diz, tell us a little bit more about yourself. And while you do that, Alan, or the being who is currently called Alan, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and what the Alan Show is, and that sort of give us a
Yeah,
self-intro?
I have a background in entertainment. I've done a lot of big jobs. I toured with Lenny Kravitz for 7 years. I had my own record deal and opened up for Sheryl Crow and Bryan Adams and Jimmy Cliff and the Neville Brothers and Bryan Adams, primarily in Europe. And I made the decision that I wanted to leave the road, and uh, and that it was time for me to go inside of myself. And I went on a spiritual quest for quite a few years. And it was over the coronavirus that I was inspired, primarily because of Laquaque, to begin to share my music again, and it's been very rewarding. One of the ways I wanted to show the process of how I make my records, and so we've been doing that on this live stream, along with some, spiritual stuff as well. We have workout Wednesdays where we always get a good little sweat going, and we are modeling a higher dimensional living or higher dimensional lifestyle uh, to everyone that watches. And we've got quite a nice family, quite a nice community building here. So Fridays, we're planning on doing Foodie Fridays, where I'm going to be preparing delicious vegetarian and vegan meals that will rival anything out there that you can get that's going to be low energy, low quality. So we're just all about a better life and modeling it, and also having a good time and enjoying some good music, and it's just all good in the
Yes.
hood.
So JD is asking, oh, so you make music? And the answer to that is yes. Alan is a very gifted singer, songwriter, musician, artist, designer, a Renaissance man, and we'll leave it at that.
And host.
And host,
I'm a good host.
MC, yeah.
Yeah.
But primarily a spiritual being, a spiritual seeker, and a spiritual teacher to many, and a friend to many, a very good friend to many. So that's a little bit about him. There's whole lot of other adjectives to describe him, all of which are most of which are wonderful. So that's a bit about Alan, and we're here in South Central LA. That's home for us, and here at the Alan Show, we have a very big passion and a heart for serving this community, which is predominantly poor and underserved. So that includes, things like this area is a food desert. There's very few, if any, healthy options for the people that live in this community. And so, to build on what Alan was saying, it's about taking all of this spiritual growth and knowledge and understanding and putting it into practice, being of service, and being real. So and that's also what's going on here at the Alan Show. Today, by the way, you came on an interesting day because today is not like most days. Usually Alan is, oh, I'm back. I didn't know you were gone, J Diz says. But usually Alan's sitting where I'm sitting, and today he's in a remote location, undisclosed, taking care of some business. But we're beaming him in, and J Diz lost internet for a moment there. But J Diz, I'm sitting where Alan is, and I work with Alan on creating the Alan Show and founding Cobbler Town, our community. So if you are on social media, Instagram, Twitter, anything like that, you can find our accounts there, TikTok as well. And Alan's album is on Spotify. So if you want to listen to some of his music, although it was from the first part of his career, it's still incredible and very timeless. We still listen to it today.
Yeah, and that album would be under my last name, Savory. S-O-V-O-R-Y.
If you click that link, it'll take you straight to it. But yeah, S-O-V-O-R-Y. South Central.
So many sirens.
Yeah. Someone out there is hurting. But that's why we do what we do. But also I was going to add, J Diz, so each day you come on the Alan Show, it's a little bit different. Mondays we usually have Music Mondays. Sometimes going forward that might become Meditation Mondays. We'll see. But Tuesdays is Tune In Tuesday, so that's today. And that's usually where we watch something together, in this case like a spiritual talk, spiritual teaching. Wednesdays we have Workout Wednesdays, so that's the body part of mind, body, and spirit. And that's where we work out and do yoga together here on the show live. And then Thursdays is the Epiphany Hotline. And that is Alan's alter ego, Epiphany, who is a 5,000-year-old interdimensional goddess and wise, supremely wise being. And she takes phone calls live on the hotline to give out free advice to anyone who wants it. So if you want to call in on Thursday, any Thursday, Epiphany is here with compassionately giving her time and attention and wisdom. So, oh, and then lastly, Friday is currently Family Fridays, but it's going to become Foodie Fridays at some point. So we talk about how to eat healthy. So that's the Alan Show schedule. Alan, anything you'd like to add?
No, that pretty much covered it. We have come a long way, and we're just going to continue to grow and to continue to bring quality content, curating quality content, things for you to think about, and we take that very seriously. And the music isn't half bad either. So we hope to see you back again.
Yeah.
Jadis.
And I'm Le Quay Quay, the Wise, as I'm called here on the Alan Show, and I am, I guess, co-producer, co-creator of the show, and so I help make all of
Well,
this
there
go.
wouldn't be an Alan Show if it weren't for you. That's all I can say.
Well, the same is true with you. So
I hope so. I guess I'm Alan.
you are Alan. So.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Diz says, so far I think this is great. This is a great first impression. And says, nice, very organized, I see. So, yeah, thank you for saying those nice words. Yeah. But yeah, first and foremost, the message is unconditional love. So we love you, even if you hate us. And we hope you'll stick around and be part of the family.
But you don't hate us. You don't hate us. I can tell.
Yeah, Diz does not hate us. I think Diz is into this. I think Diz is feeling like...
I think so, yeah.
Well, we don't know if it's a he or a she or how
they
identify.
or whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Diz, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, we'd love to know more about you, including where you're from. And you already told us that English is not your first language. So, what is your first language? Did you say that I'm a he or I'm a she? There's a little, I can't tell if that's a typo or not. I'm from Costa Rica. My first language is Spanish.
Oh, nice.
Español. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And it's a he, so we were correct. Wow, Costa Rica. Wasn't someone...
so beautiful there.
Chloe was just going there. Our friend Chloe.
Well, yeah, Chloe was going there, but something happened because of COVID, and they started closing down roads and stuff, so she wasn't able to go. But I've always wanted to go.
Diz, are you in Costa Rica right now? Is that where you are watching from? Yes, I am. Wow.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Have you ever been to California or America before? I have never gone to another country. Wow. Sadly.
Well, I'm going to come visit you.
Yeah, we're going to come visit you.
I want to see Costa Rica.
Let's go to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Or we'll have a party and here in LA, and you can come and we'll help you.
Yeah. Or we'll Zoom you in.
Yeah.
Or we'll throw a party in Costa Rica when we come.
Yeah.
What part of Costa Rica?
What part of Costa Rica? Diz says LMAO.
Okay, so it's
no,
not
like laugh. No. He's saying laugh my ass off about us going over there. It says Central Costa Rica.
Okay.
The middle of it.
Cool. Well, we will definitely let you know when we come to Costa Rica. We wanna go all around because I've seen so many beautiful pictures of the nature there, the rainforest and the beaches and all of that.
Yeah, I've only seen it in like photos, vacation photos and stuff like come to
Yeah.
Costa Rica. Yeah. Okay, well, it's 8:33 and we had a pretty good time here. So, Jay Diz, will you be back tomorrow night to join us for Workout Wednesday? We're going to be doing some yoga. Say you'll do it. Maybe I have a busy schedule. Oh, okay. What are you busy with? Jay Diz got bored and came on Twitch and ran into this situation with us right now. Work, friends, a lot of stuff, studying. Are you a student? College student? Jay Diz says yes. Oh, Jay Diz is a college student.
Smart
Okay.
cat.
Smarty pants. Smart. Studying software and also philosophy. Oh, wow.
Wow,
Okay.
that's cool.
Excellent.
Nice.
Um, I know a little bit about software and philosophy, and I love both of those things. So, um, yeah.
I know about philosophy, not much about software,
uh,
but I appreciate it.
oh, that's interesting. How today we were watching a talk about a philosophical talk at Google, and that's exactly what you're into there.
A little synchronicity.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, maybe that's a little confirmation that you're in a good place. So I should say a little bit about me. I spent basically the last 10 years or so working at software companies and creating software myself, as well as being on a spiritual quest. So that's a little bit about me, and we can be friends. And yeah, just share our learnings with each other. So uh, come on in. Yeah. Okay. Well, Alan, with that said, do you want to sing us out?
Sure. This
Jay
is a
Diz, this
theme
is the,
song for
yeah.
the Allen Show, and I wrote it with my brother about maybe 5 months ago now. Time flies when you're having fun, but it really reflects what we cobblers are all about. So here it goes. If you say you want to be happy, then just be happy. If you say you want to act kindly, then my name is Alan from South Los Angeles, Cobbler District, where there's only peace and joy and kindness. Bad vibes are restricted. Folks are always talking about their light, their peace, their love. We cobblers often ask each other who they're speaking of. If you say you want to be happy, then just be happy like we cobblers do. Like we cobblers do.
Yeah. Our crew for today. We love
And Jay
you.
Diz.
And of course, Jay Diz, our newest friend. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Alan, tell us, say goodnight.
So, I am going to say goodnight. It's been a pleasure hanging out with everyone, although I couldn't see you or see the chat like I normally do. But hope to see you again, Jay Diz. So nice to see you. Obviously, Joey and 777, my favorite number combination. Have a wonderful night.